Suitable housing and equipment for snail production. In this lesson, you will learn just how the choice of suitable housing can aid the ease of managing your snail enterprise. Housing, if not properly set up, can cause the loss of the snails, which every rational snail farmer wants to avoid. We are going to identify the different types of materials that can be used for housing the snails, their prospects and setbacks. Housing equipment needed within the snail house will be discussed to ensure that you can manage a snail farm profitably. Pay attention and get these new techniques in snail housing. Snail farming has become a very lucrative business in Nigeria. It is one of the most successful and profitable businesses in the country. Snail farming is a good alternative for animal protein production because it helps to reduce hunger in our communities, and it is usually prescribed for individuals with certain ailments, so creating a good market for snail. In this lesson, we are going to learn suitable housing for snail production. Materials that can be used for snail housing include wood, concrete, tires, metal drums, pots, old buckets, old drums. Those are some of the materials that can be used to produce or to raise snails. Here is a picture of a snail pen. As we can see, the snails are raised on a concrete floor where they are given certain wooden materials for shade. We all know that snails are nocturnal animals, whereby they come out in the dark. They feed more at night. They are more active at night. So in the daytime, they are hidden in the trenches. Those are made with wooden materials. In this type of system, the snails can be raised in their numbers. All you need to do is keep the snail pen clean so as to keep away ants from these snails. This slide shows snail housing using old tires. These tires can be cut to create more space within the tire space and arranged or piled on top of one another to create adequate space for the snails. You can have as high or as tall as you want for the snail house. The disadvantage with this type of snail house is that you have to be able to keep the tires in place. It has to be kept in a place that it is not disturbed. Metal drums are good snail housing materials. It can be used to keep snails and it is conducive for the snail. All you need to do is keep the metal drum in a shaded area. It could be under a tree, or you could create a kind of canopy for the metal drum so that the snail house can be kept cool. And a disadvantage with using metal drum is when it starts to rust, it can constitute a form of challenge for the snails to crawl on the drum. In this picture, we can see snail housing constructed with a wooden material, and in this case, you construct a rectangle or a housing for the snail with the wood, and inside the wood you lay a nylon material, and on top of this material you lay sand, and this sand you will place the snails so that they will not be able to escape, and as well as to prevent ants from entering into the snail cage. You can see that the upper part of the cage is covered with wire gauze to allow for aeration of the snail space. The lower part shows a snail cage using with four of the sides, or let me say five of the sides, covered with wire netting, where it is only the underneath that is covered with wood. This is to allow for better aeration for the snails as well. Clay pots are good housing materials for snails, reason being that they can be kept cool, and snails love cool environment. They tend not to come out to eat, to feed during its period. So using clay pots for snail housing is a very good housing method. Snail housing equipment. These are equipments that are required in the snail house. And two important equipment needed in a snail house is one, the feeding trough, and the water trough. And the feeding trough, which is a large flat basin where the feed presented to the snails are kept. It is important for this feeding trough to be flat for ease of feeding among the snails. Also, the water trough must be a flat tray to allow the snails to take water easily.